ghosts are like supposed to put like a cold vibe into the air.
You got it. Cold spots. That's exactly what we're looking for, buddy. Should be able to see me in there, right? Yeah. Red, orange, and yellow guy?
Yep.
I did.
Yeah.
So, I normally joke around that I'm the hottest thing inside the frame right now, but, sorry, Trey. But at any rate, you're not a drunken bachelorette group. So it doesn't always work out. Yeah. So what we're looking for in here are the blue and black spots. That's the cool thing about this. Does this capture something every single night? Not necessarily, but we need to record in order to be able to capture something. With any of these cameras that I use, because I do use a third one, which we're not going to be using tonight, it is usually the holy cow moment when we do find something in those cameras. Now, this camera, when you guys get it back, there's a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen. You may not be able to see it from where you're standing, but that blue dot is showing you the exact coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. That's why it bounces around the screen. So that way you can actually see, why is it, oh, he's rolling garbage cans. I'm like, what is that noise? The ghosts are rattling chains for us tonight. So that's kind of there to help guide your eye. So that's the cool thing about the way this is actually set up. Now, this is a FLIR camera. Like, this is a legit thermal imaging camera. This is not a phone app that you can download, unfortunately. So we're going to be doing some starts and stops.
What is that?
Looks like the outline of the windows. It is almost in there to a T, like dressed to a...
Yeah.
I do a lot of debunking with this camera because it does pick up a lot of sensitive things.
Yeah.
But if he gets a full figure and I can like, interact with it, like, hey, if you're Eliza, raise her right hand, and I get her to raise her right hand, we obviously have something going on. But yeah, you're gonna get a lot of things.
I heard the word details. I heard the word family.
Family, home, and house show up here a lot, just so you know.
Okay.
Like, those are really common. So I'm not super stoked about that, and you guys will know when I'm excited because I'll have this exact same tone in the voice, and I say, I'm excited, guys. So, again, when you do this 5 to 7 nights a week, depending on the weather, like, you kind of know what's going to be coming about.
Okay.
So, again, I get surprised, which is the fun part for me, because that means I get to research even more. Any other crazy numbers?
Yo, come here.
This is crazy. I heard not your fault.
Tell him. Tell him.
I will. I heard not your fault.
I know it's something. 68 and then it just drops to 0.
Yeah. Say, Kristen, say it's not your fault.
You looking down?
I asked the beginning if these were here and it says none.
It says none.
Look at your camera.
Interesting because it's a direct answer.
Oh, yeah.
What? Let me see.
It's not nothing. We got nothing.
So, with your device in the left hand,
We'll see.
there's a sensitivity level here. So, just turn it all the way up and turn it back a smidge to make sure we're getting as many letters as possible. It's the second or third night we use that. We
How cool is that?
Yeah, that's amazing. That was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So I'm super stoked.
And then drop down. It's up to 103.8. Now it's down to 80.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Really kind of stay put. Kristen, what do you got going on over there? Anything?
Nothing really. No.
She
Just,
said
like,
not your
static.
fault
Yeah, I got that.
earlier.
Yeah, not your fault. That's like really the only thing that's come up. I heard a yes just now.
Questions over there?
Yeah.
The ghost of the man is here.
She just heard yes.
Oh, cool.
So again, I normally like throw out yes no answers, but that was pretty direct. However, I want to know who the man is that's actually here. So I want a name. I don't want yes no answers, ghost.
Who is the name of what is the name of the man that is here, the ghost? What is his name? What is your name?
What you heard, Walker?
What is your name?
Dominic, you still on record?
Yeah.
Tell us your name.
We gave up to give him. We gave up to get him.
Are you a good person?
It's a yes/no question. I would like to know the name of the ghost that is here. If you're not one of the Pinkneys.
Are you a Pinkney? What is your name?
I just jumping around. I had 56, then it goes back down. Jump up to 48, down to 17.
What is your name?
Still good readings.
Yeah.
I heard classical and choral music for the first time ever.
And the C's good one.
Like that's the first time I had heard like classical followed immediately by choral.
Is there a woman here? Is there a woman here? Is the
Dominic, you
ghost
seen
of a
anything?
woman here?
Her readings have gone way down too. Kristen, you got anything before I wrap this up?
Yeah, it's 0.
She's getting zeros. We were at 103.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up to 0. Nothing.
All right, let's wrap this one up. Come on over towards here too if you want. So I hate to say, like, I love the fact that you heard a no directly or a yes directly after a yes/no question. I know it's hard to stay away from yes/no questions, but again, I don't normally find terminal proof.
And I didn't even hear you. What
Yeah.
you said.
I mean, you guys had your backs to each other.
And I had no vision. I can't like hear what anybody's saying.
I'm just trying to
So
focus.
you're saying I should not ask yes or no questions?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, you're not going to get. Like,
I just
there's-
heard 48.
I heard every. 48% was changed.
You heard what? 48?
48.
Every
That was one of your readings.
That's the reading. I just got a reading here, 48, and it drops
Okay.
down to 4. Oh, 69. Back up to 69.
48 and 69. So
Dominic.
we're going to keep you guys running, but I want to show you the answers before we leave the space. I'm trying to find the tie to the 48, and I can't find it in my head of the dates that I know about this space. So, whenever I'm giving you the answers to a space, I'll usually break out the tablet, kind of show you the visual aids of what's going on. So, this is Eliza Lucas Pinkney. So this is the reason why I use her maiden name is because she was the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. The first wife also had a maiden name that started with the letter L. So Lamb was the first wife, Lucas was the second. And here's the funny thing. This wife, I told you about the double age, like she was half his age. Let's move in closer so that way Donna's not straining it here. This wife was 22 years old when Charles was 45, yes. So I had to think about that for a second. So 45, because you throw them into 48, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the right number.
Well,
So
48
again,
divided by 4 is 12. And the 12th letter of the alphabet is L.
now you're stretching it. That's a big
Sorry.
stretch.
It's just going there.
Now, if we were doing geometry through this, I would say
Yeah.
sure, let's grab it. But that's a big stretch. The funny thing is that's going to be in the audio, and I might actually have to go back to listen to that to go, is that right? So I might have to double check you. So anyway, that's the reason why I like to show you this particular picture. What happened to the mansion? This is the only photograph we have of the mansion, just so everybody knows. This is exactly where you're standing right now. This is fire damage from the Great Fire of 1861. Normally, when we get fire, burning, blaze, we will normally
Let's
get
go.
2 or 3 numbers out of the date. This happened on December 11th of 61. So 12, 11, or 61 usually shows up in a combo somewhere, even though you have the 12th letter is whatever,
So,
moving to L. But again, I'm not surprised that I'm showing this picture and the word burn shows up. Not to mention we're standing right in the middle of the damn dining room, if you want to really be technical.
Wow.
So every tour in town is going to tell you about a great fire because Charleston has had dozens of them. This is a map of Charleston. So this is the fire that took out the Pinckney Mansion. So you can see, obviously, the orange is the fire, and you're standing on a tiny little green dot. This fire, if you look at the map, went from one side of the peninsula all the way to the other. So this was a giant fire. So the children,
That's
gonna get
wild.
into that. Yeah, that's a big
That's
fire.
destruction right there.
$5 to $9 million worth of damage
Yeah.
in 1861.
Wow.
Yeah.
So don't ask me what that equates to today unless you want to do the math for me. So,
No, 1860. No, I'm not going to do that.
So the children, you were really curious about that. There were 4 of them. So first one you already know about Charles. He was a signer of the Constitution. We're going to move on. Thomas is the next one I bring up. He fought in a Revolutionary War battle, shot in his left leg, and captured by the British during the Battle of Camden. Camden is a city right here in South Carolina, just southwest of here. So when he was released, he was left on a cane the rest of his days. So when we do have portraits of Thomas after that
I see a
particular
full
battle,
body. I saw a full body.
that's our shadows. It picks up shadows. I'm sorry, you got excited. But we all have his "I saw a full body" on audio, so
That's
we
right.
might actually
Right.
have to save that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the portraits of Thomas Pinckney are going to be of his right side, sitting, so that way he can hide his left leg, and there's a cane over his lap. So those are the cues that I look for when Thomas's name does show up. The next child is the one that I normally say we don't want to poke the bear with. This is baby George. Baby George died in 1747, June, and was also born June of 1747. We don't know how old he was exactly, but he doesn't have a grave and he doesn't have a headstone. My theory behind this is that they would have mummified this child and kept him right here in the home waiting for his mother to pass away. So, yeah, it's going to get even more weird. We talk about Eliza's death. But, again, don't go home and Google mummied baby and not expect a phone call from the government. These are religious practices of where I found this information. So, the next child is the only daughter. Her name was Harriet. So I was actually waiting. You said that we had the answer of none, if there were any Pinckneys here. I was actually waiting for her husband to kind of come through and kind of see if his name was going to pop up somewhere. She married Daniel Ory. Myrtle Beach is Ory County. That should give you an idea of where she lived, 2.5 hours north of here. Wouldn't have been a 2.5-hour car ride for Eliza. There's no cars. Lots of letter writing instead. When Harriet does show up here, which is very seldom, quill, ink, paper, published. These are the kinds of terms that will show up here. Eliza's death.
Weird. I just heard the word pregnant.
Who'd you bring with you?
What?
Who'd you bring with you?
What do you mean?
You're pregnant.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, it's really creepy.
I'm going to be writing that one down.
Okay.
That's obviously relevant to you specifically. We're going to see if something else pops up as well. Possibly your name, birthday, something relative to you directly.
Okay.
So, Eliza was 70 years old when she passed away in 1793. I'd like to point out, first off, that is a long time for a woman to be living during colonial times.
It
That's
is.
a ripe old age.
Anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, but 1793 is the year she died.
Yeah.
Like, that's
crazy.
a long time. She was going to Philadelphia, getting treatments for whatever they thought she had. It turned out to be breast cancer. We didn't know what breast cancer was in 1793. We're going based off her medical records today. She died in Philly. She's buried in Philly. That should raise 2 questions in the back of your brains. First off, let's talk about baby George. If my theory is true, they would have transported that baby, got his tomb in a mummy, all the way to Philly from here by horse and carriage. That's a long trek.
64.4.
Of course, as soon as I bring up George. The other thing is if Eliza's buried in Philadelphia, what the hell are we doing here? I don't take you to actual cemeteries. It's minimal activity. Just so you know, none of you are going to hang out near your grave when you're gone. You're going to go to your mansions 400 miles away, which is exactly why I bring you to the spaces that I do. Who wants to take a guess at who the president was that was the pallbearer at the funeral? 1793.
You're good at this.
It's good that you can't answer. Let me explain. It was George Washington. At his own request, wanted to pay homage to Eliza from her indigo that helped get her country started. But when we got here, I told y'all I'm not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. And it's one of the first things that I bring up, so that way George Washington is subliminally put in the back of all of your brains on purpose. You all passed with a fail. Good job. So again, that's what I look for. I don't want somebody to just repeat everything that I'm saying, which is exactly why I withhold information. That'll be the only word trick that I play all night long, now that you guys have actually passed. So, wordsmith here. Sorry, master's degree in creative writing. I had to get clever. How are we doing on our terms? Do we have anything coming up there that might make sense?
For me.
For me. That's a weird phrase I don't think I've ever seen on there.
For me. Yeah, I look for that where it's quick. And this, when it said burn, this was up here turning red. I was trying to get your attention. Turning orange and red. So the word burn came up.
So all that orange and red where it goes crazy like that is just part of the aesthetic of the app. It growls and does all kinds of crazy mess that we don't need. All I need is for the dictionary to actually be there for whoever needs to use it as far as ghost goes. Say no?
Choking.
So I wanted to talk about bleed over for a second. We're still near Big John's. We're going to find bleed over in these locations like this. We do have the word choking. I'm not super convinced that, remember, John got shot in the neck. So, again, I'm not super convinced that that's relative yet until I find something else or we hear something else, but we are going to be leaving the space. Where we're going is Philadelphia Alley, which is probably the same alley that you were talking about earlier. We're going to be talking about a duel down there. However, we're not going to be able to spread out and investigate like what we did here. We're going to stick together, and it's because it's a very popular ghost tour stop. So filming, again, be very discreet because other tours may be coming down.
Discreet and quick here and now.
But when we go to the space after that, I'll be expecting bleed over from the alley because they're relatively close together. Quinn.
The name Quinn.
That's very interesting. I'm interested too in the name Walker. Like she said the name Walker earlier, and I want to see if there's a Walker on Big John's team. And maybe we have his jersey number from some of the crazy numbers you're getting at there.
Bet it's 48.
High.
Might be. All right. Any major questions about the Pinckneys before we go learn about dueling?
That's really interesting.
Yeah, we have some really cool little happenings going on in here.
That's cool.
So let's try to make this as easy as possible on Donna without having to pass through too many obstacles. Yeah. Donna, what were those last two numbers? Do you remember?
He's so big.
The last two. I think it's 48. 48. She had 48 at the same.
He's a good boy.
Step over here. It was like 65 again, wouldn't it? Yeah, another 68. Yeah, I've been looking into this building to buy it. So I can make a little haunted Airbnb out of it.
Yeah, I love it.
Can't find information on it. We are making a sell some of this here on Merchant Street. I don't know if this is going to be part of it.
Wow.
Right up here.
See this. Yeah.
Eliza Pinckney.
Wait, is this the market where we work?
Yeah.
That's a good one. When did
Oh.
you get that just now? Did you get a pay at the end of it?
Tell me what you heard. Nerd. As we're going through the market.
Sorry, did I interrupt like the selfie family?
No, you did
No,
not.
you're good. You're good.
You're perfect.
Yeah, you can actually pause your video, by the way. There's no point recording in between. So I'm going to tell you a little bit different because, again, you're ghost hunting. You're not doing campfire marshmallow stories. So let's kind of get into it. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you actually hear the song Brown Eyed Girl down here, it's not coincidence. So just kind of take that with what we're doing out here. Anyway, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. So she has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd comes to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. As he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. He's dressed pretty well because he just graduated med school. Looks like he's got some money. So, somebody was walking by. His name is Ralph Isaacs. I stopped there for just a minute because he actually has the same initials as where the doctor came from. We were getting the letters R.I. on regular spirit boxes all the time, so I bought the Ouija board to see if we can get it, again, a little bit more precise. So we've gotten it a few times, and again, I've had that for about 6 months now, so we've gotten it a handful of times. I'll count them on one hand. But anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, rent a room, and you'll be safe. And Dr. Ladd took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. Amanda got wind of this. She's coming down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd became known as the whistling doctor because he whistled all the time. It's the 1780s. Loud dressed up costume. Sorry. But anyway, by the way, every ghost tour down here will tell you to listen for the whistles, and we're going to get into that because every haunted city you will ever visit in your entire life actually has a cliched whistling ghost. There's actually proof of this one, and we're going to get to that. Ralph and Dr. Ladd go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So that's just kind of the way the hierarchy works. Anyway, they go see Richard III one night, and they're talking about the new actress on their way home. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. So they start arguing. And then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. Yeah, it gets really ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph has friends here, like I mentioned earlier. Goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of you're a disgrace to society, sir. So, yeah, the doctor saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up, which is often what happened. But Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd fell to the ground. He didn't die, but his friends picked him up, carried him home to 59 Church Street, which, by the way, 59 is common. Dr. Ladd dies 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. This is 1786. Bullet wounds were not the same as they are today. He was probably trying to bleed out this bullet wound himself, which is probably why he refused the medical treatment. So other versions of this story will tell you that the next best doctor came in and tried to save him and all kinds of mess. But again, I do a lot of research on these stories to make sure we're as historically accurate as possible. Again, every tour will tell you to listen for the whistles. It is always this quiet down here. We're going to see if it has song of the air. But we're using my voice recorder right now. So again, you won't necessarily have to listen for whistles right now. You'll be listening for them in the background. If you're going to do this on your own and walk all the way through, keep in mind every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. I have to pass this alley to get back to my car, and it's just a game I play with my daughter when she's on the tour. So especially since I got kicked out of here. Let's get into that, because that's the fun part. It tells you exactly why we're going to the place we're going to next. So this alley didn't always come all the way through this way. It actually cut off. There was probably a wall right about where we're standing. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. So cows and chickens and all kinds of things were in here. The bricks on the other side are older than this side. So that means those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there with some fingerprint swipes in the bricks. When this team passes by, I will stop telling the story because, again, this is me getting in trouble. So, by the way, the readings for your particular device, I don't get excited because we have a lot of lampposts around here, so 5 to 7 is about the average that we will get from your device.
Every part of that, the whole constantly what's happening. Just go in the rooms here and keep until you want to see.
So, my groups, every single night that I used to take them all the way down, would want to try to get a reading on that handprint. I treat that handprint the same way I do a grave. That's the last place you're going to find that slave kid. He doesn't want to be staring at that brick in the afterlife. So, November 26th, 2020, yes, very specific date, it's going to mean something. My entire team is huddled around one brick waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along for the obvious reason, but it's also outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. So I was just trying to be respectful, not knowing I was actually out of bounds. I was new at doing this and didn't know I wasn't allowed down there to take groups. So the new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. She was on the tour that night, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly for Walmart. So again, you can understand my pain with Thanksgiving. So I want to sit at home and eat a turkey. Anyway, the next day was the 28th. So I told my team I had to reroute because I got a phone call from my partner that said, you can't go all the way down that far, there was a complaint. I said, fine. So I had to reroute my group with a quick news story. I didn't have anything because I'm not a pirate person, which is what the next story is. I'm a vampire guy. So I told my team, I don't believe in this story. We're going to see what happens. We got enough gear. We'll make it work. So before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, okay, maybe we do got something. We get down there. I told a little bit I did know about piracy. Somebody else heard the number 300. I don't know what that means in real time. I write it down, research the next morning. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I went, damn it. Now I got to research pirates. You know how hard it is to put together a factual investigation based on pirate lore? It is very difficult. Everything we're about to discuss came from a minimum of 2 resources, so that way we had as much factual data as possible. So again, where we're going is going to have bleed over from here, the doctor story, hopefully, but we're going to be able to spread out. But there's another, it's a very popular ghost corner. So that whole corner, there's people moving around. We just stay out of their way. Let them do their thing, we'll do ours. Again, I don't have a whole lot of friends in this industry, as I'm sure you guys can imagine. Trey's like, man, this guy's weird. If you're wondering where the weirdos
awesome,
are, by
man.
the way, you're it.
Yay.
Look around. You're the weird group. So how's our word list coming? Do we have anything going on?
I got a 25 just now.
25.
Fellow.
Fellow. I like fellow because that seems like a very 1780s type of term. Dr. Ladd was 22 when he passed away. As far as 25, again, the date of the duel itself is speculated. So again, it was late October because he died on November 2nd. Because some stories will tell you that he died 4 days later. Others will tell you that it was 10 days later.
Okay. Isn't there a graveyard on the other side of this wall?
There is.
Okay,
Let me
great.
point that out. Look at you beating the gun. So I normally stop over there by that gate. There's a gate inside the wall right here. And I normally stand in front of it so I can point it out. That gate, remember the alley was cut off right about here. So that means if there was a loser to the duel, that was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side.
Okay.
Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to Queen Street and loop back around with a dead body, which also delays drinking with the winner. So again, that gate, the wrought iron wasn't there. It's about early 1900s, I'm guessing. But the archway is definitely original to the alley when it was duelers.
I don't know if he can he look or no?
Look at what?
Can he look in this now?
Oh yeah, there's nobody down there.
Because there's no one down there. Okay.
And he was actually holding that thing pretty steady, so we should actually have a pretty good shot of anything. Yep, you should right up, dude. Like that. Love it. Alright, have you heard anything before we leave the space? And go learn about some crazy pirates?
Not really.
25.
Now, where would that hand be? You're not going to show us the hand.
So, all the way at the end of the alley, it's about 14 bricks in from the edge, just left of center if you're going down this way.
No, that's
Do you wanna
Queen
try?
Street down
Got
at
it.
the other end.
Yep, so
Okay.
it's
Do you mind
pretty
if
close
Do you mind
to
if Trey tries this for a while?
Yes, intermix it. Have a good time. That's why you guys are here.
So if you were, I didn't notice the sign. Does the sign say Philadelphia Alley?
There's a street sign
Here,
that says Philadelphia
here,
Alley,
it's
but
right
there's
here.
also
It's your
a
volume.
placard
Right here,
in the
the little-
center wall
You don't have
that
to
says
look
Philadelphia Alley and
But
kind of
this
gives you the
is-
history
this-
of why it named Philadelphia Alley. So Philadelphia actually helps save us financially out of one of our many, many fires, which is why when this from Dueler's Alley to Philadelphia Alley, dueling was illegal and stupid, and Dueler's Alley was a nickname because it was originally Kinloch's Court. So again, there's a lot of history here that goes on. Obviously, I did my research with the cows, and it was actually Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley because of the livestock. So again, there's a lot of history here. So, but do you have anything else going on?
Yep. It's found. Oh, that's the one. It just popped up.
And nothing on the little Ouija board there?
No, it just keeps scrolling with numbers and the letters over.
Yeah,
and
if you get a
over.
prescription on there, like you can't pronounce it, like that's when you clear it off and it's
Yeah,
fresh.
it doesn't make any
But I'm
sense.
excited about the letters EP that showed up as we were leaving the space. Like normally I would expect ELP because of Eliza Lucas EP. right next to each other is not a joke either. Trey, you hearing anything?
I heard a reel.
Interesting. All right, let's go
I'm
learn.
trying to wait.
Trying to wait.
Have you heard about, I can't remember the full thing, it's, I think it was a slave or something like that, he was hung and he didn't die. And if you don't die after you're hung, you're free.
He said go.
And
You heard it go?
apparently he did voodoo in the graveyard here. Do you ever hear that story?
No. So I just picked up a bunch of books on Denmark. Rebellion. I wanted to learn more about him because there was speculation that the place where he was living is right near the Penguin.
I knew he was going to be.
Yeah.
All right.
Things happen so fast, and I'm like, by the time I realize what I heard, I can't like get it out of my
I
mouth.
just couldn't get over the buzzing. It was like, it
Yeah,
started to make me dizzy.
So that's the first thing I do with my first cup of coffee in the morning to get it done and over with.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my expertise, is using all of the different styles of spirit box.
Yeah.
So on investigations where I'm invited, I bring all my spirit boxes because I know which ones are going to do what. That is probably the easiest one to learn from.
Okay.
So when I get down there, James Bonnie is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for, right? So this guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. This is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. This is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just so everybody knows who we're talking about.
Wow.
So Calico Jack has his own crew and wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Anybody know why? Keep it family friendly. We have 8-year-old ears here. Okay. Nobody knows. It's bad luck.
Okay.
So we're just gonna go with bad luck.
We're just gonna go with bad luck. Got it.
So,
Yep.
He makes a deal with her. If you dress like the crew, meaning you're gonna hide your gender, then you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. So she gets it. Let's do this, right? She's a female in his quarters, though. Let's put two and two together.
Sure.
All you adults. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. So
No.
we're going to figure out that she's a girl. And
Right.
then Jack let her on the ship. So he drops her off from Cuba. Go have the baby here. These are friends of mine. Come back later and we'll figure it out. She goes and has a baby, but returns with no baby. You have no idea what happened to this child. None of my research has ever found it. But she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack angry because now he's going to know that he let a girl on the crew on the ship. So
Right.
while she was gone giving birth to his baby, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting because that's who Anne is. She's going to make him even more mad. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females on the same ship trying to be male pirates. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Mary and Mark have shown up on spirit boxes in the past. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure, but the British found out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take down one measly pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1 bullet flintlocks. That's obviously not going to work out very well against a fleet of ships, and it's probably because they didn't know how to use the cannon jet either. So obviously they get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at her bow and captain, Calico Jack, and she says, "Sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't have to be hanged like a dog." The word dog is very prominent here as well for spirit boxes. Yeah. The judge, he wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so violently on their own. Calico Jack and the drunk pirates are already hung and dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front, reveal their gender. The judge doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them. They're still pirates. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're not really sure about Mary Reed, so we're going to go with it.
Right.
And she dies at the age of 84 after having 4 children.
God bless her.
So there's a lot going
Wow.
on here. I will tell you that I'm not going to give you a whole crap ton of questions like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. I only left out 2 neatly details on purpose, so you guys can ask whatever the hell you want to, including yes/no questions if you want. Just because I know that that's going to be an apt for you. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents, so you can ask what her parents' names were. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. Anne Bonny also loves to show us what her hair color is, or tell us what her hair color is, so we will get the word red here quite a bit. Readings again.
Kelly.
I don't know who Kelly is, but I'm going to write it down. We're also in the month of March, so I'll be looking for other specific clues to another story nearby. I think you guys already pointed out that there's a graveyard on the other side of us as well. So behind you guys is the western side of the St. Philip Cemetery. So again, there is a specific person in there that will come through in the month of March. So if I start to see those signs, I'll let you know what you guys are telling me and what you're seeing. Do we have anything going on with your device?
Strange cargo hill.
I like cargo.
I like cargo.
Like died on the hill. Trey, what do you got?
Cousin and relationship.
I showed up here. So there's literally like 15 stories on this corner. So when you guys tell me things, I have to like stop. Like,
Yeah.
the cousin thing showed up here a few nights ago, so I know exactly what that's referring to. So I'll, relay that here. Once I give you guys all the answers before I leave the space. So cousin is definitely relevant. And what was the other thing you heard?
Relationship.
Relationship, and then make the switch.
Maybe that was the description of.
Just
how
heard of John.
See if anything else comes up with the record. And again, year 8.5. That is, I don't normally expect readings here at all.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, I haven't even gotten point anything since then. It's just 0.
So that's a replacement device. The other one that I had that broke, it actually had a REM pod built into it for motion, and that's how we would then hand bind to show us the hair color. It actually works with colors. So, but again, the replacement they sent me doesn't have that feature. So I'm waiting on the new one to come in. In the meantime, I told them I'm going to have to hang on to this because of what I do for a living. So I actually have it, and it is one of the most accurate EMF detectors
It's
I've ever.
working because the temperature
Temperatures, yeah.
adjusts.
So if you ever see the word hold on your screen, if you accidentally have something, just let me know and we'll reset it. But usually that's kind of like, I'm not getting anything, and then I go over and somebody tapped the hold button, so it doesn't do anything. It'll just hold it, whatever reading it finds. Dominic, you finding anything in that crazy camera?
I mean, when I look over there, I keep seeing something.
It's flashing, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting upside down in corn.
Upside down and corn.
Mm-hmm.
Father had a plantation.
Shot by guilty pleasures.
One of the funny things is we usually get the song "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" here. Like we get that all the time.
Which is a great guilty pleasure song.
It is.
And also, that's a perfect one.
C-O-L-E.
Oh, that one I don't have to write down.
We had the idea to name our baby Cole.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You did.
Well, name.
Wow.
Well, somebody approves. I think it's a great idea.
Apparently so.
My maiden name is Coley.
Instead, we
And
went
so-
with Leatherface.
Oh,
No.
Good job.
I see that. I see that.
Yeah.
It's very homey and warm.
Right.
Yeah, right.
You got it.
By the way, this is also not a space like the prominent English woman that we were dealing with earlier. Like, we can poke the bear here a little bit. We're talking about a sassy pirate.
Yeah.
So again, I have a phrase that I use whenever I'm teaching people how to use this, and it's know your ghost. Because again, prominent English woman, we will piss her off, and all activity will stop. I've seen it. I've gotten nasty messages from that space, and all activity stopped immediately after. And when I say like nasty messages, it was not radio chatter coming through, and it's please just leave us alone that went over 13 different radio stations.
Wow.
So again, there are some nights it depends on my people. I've had disrespectful people go in there and joke around. I'm like, yo, what's up, Eliza? And I'm like, oh, no, stop.
Right.
Like, that's disrespectful to a colonial woman.
Right.
Like, that's a no.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
did just hear the Alanis Morissette song.
Which
What was the
one?
lyric?
The first one.
You ought to know.
You ought to know that one?
That's what it was.
But what was the lyric?
I don't know. what
'Cause
the
there's a lot of
lyric
lyrics
was.
in that
I know the
notes.
tune.
Yeah, the
But I
tune.
didn't catch which lyrics. it was.
Right.
It's about the lyrics, not the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that song is a pretty FU sort of song,
Yeah.
so.
It is.
You know, it's more FU. The song is called FU.
Oh, yes, there is a song.
Yes, there is.
There is a song.
Singer, what's her name?
CeeLo Green. Well, does that
Yeah, I
one.
think
There's
my
another one that's
daughter.
an English singer. sing.
Oh.
And she sings it. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
It's wonderful.
I can't remember
It's the
the
funny
name.
one.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh.
like a show tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. My daughter is a drama kid, so that's all she listens to is musicals. And, you know, so again, of course, she plays it in the car when I pick her up. I'm like, do we have to go through this right now?
Right.
Like, but we're gonna actually head over towards that wall and see what your devices do. We'll kind of see if anything's coming up for Trey a little bit more because that's a place to sit down.
What?
What you got?
No.
Nothing? What was it?
It sounded like adult noises.
Oh.
What does that sound like? I mean, what is that?
Yep.
Okay. I don't mind. I
Leave
mean,
that right there.
8-year-old ear. I love how you have that thing strapped in. I love it.
These earthquakes points are everywhere. I've been all over America, all over Europe. They're everywhere.
Yep. Well, here we like to decorate them with lion heads and pineapples and, you know, stupid Charleston charm stuff so you guys
Maybe
feel all
trees?
touristy.
Are you
So kind of give these
recording
devices a few more minutes, and then
Yeah, recording.
if we don't have anything major coming out of Trey or your word list, 4.3. Again, I like to pull, so I'm looking for things above 7 over here. Anything crazy going on with yours, Kristen?
No, I mean I'm looking. What am I like really looking for? Like
Blue shapes to start moving.
blue shapes that start moving, not just blue areas.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be blue areas if we're in the frame.
Right.
You want them to start moving, and when I say moving and taking shape,
Payments.
was it?
Payments.
I'm looking for head,
And
shoulders,
first
arms, and
kiss.
legs. First kiss I like, obviously. I would definitely turn the sensitivity down because it would be cool. It's going to be there about halfway to
Is there a female spirit
He's got a better angle than me, I gotta ask him.
Project Love.
He is better at this than you.
Mm-hmm. I knew he would be.
It's funny, as I hand that thing to teenage girls, oh my god, I gotta tell them to slow down.
Right.
Because that's all they do is listen to earbuds.
Oh, true.
Throw these earbuds away. 1 sec. We'll wrap this one up. Trey's obviously getting a lot of like lovey type terms, so he's getting like first kiss. You know, obviously lots of love terms.
I heard another relationship.
Relationship. Make the switch. Sweet. So let's cover the answers. I feel like we have a whole lot going on. You know, Dominic hasn't seen anything in his camera here that he hasn't been able to debunk. He's getting pretty good at that, I think.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. It might have just been a pole though.
Hmm.
But it looks like some sort of thing with no head.
Oh, let me see.
Is it a
Do it
sign?
again.
Signs will look that way, like they don't have a head.
Oh.
I'll lighten it up and find out. I would say go ahead and stop your recordings at this point.
Okay.
Here you can, you know, work on the piece you're supposed to be working on, and you know, kind of take things from there. Leave the wife behind. She's got her parents at home, so he took him up on the offer, and that's where he wrote his last words. His last words were "beholder of brief mortality," which translates to "person of short life." And then he coughs, and it lands on the page in a blood stain. That blood stain looks like a man writing over his desk. Henry had tuberculosis, which is why it came up as a blood stain.
Right.
So we call this the Blood Book here in Charleston. They show it one day a year at the Charleston Library Society, and you have to be a member of the society to go visually see the book. But the internet's beautiful, so I'm going to show you what this blood page actually looks like.
Okay.
So we have gotten the term blood and book here together in the same evening. This is also, keep in mind, where I would do the Estes method, where I would take half the group over and tell them the story, while the other half of the group sits over here. So I have half the group in the dark, and then the other half knows what's going to be expected. This is the blood book. You can see where the blood stain.
Wow.
So, this guy is very shy, very timid. So he's kind of takes a few minutes to get used to us, which is another reason why I just kind of kept chit-chatting, let him know I'm here, kind of hear my voice a little bit. The camera that Dominic's using, there's a reason why I have it. It's this space. Somebody brought one of the big chunky monkey ones one night. So that's what I get people that bring their own gear want to test it out with me all the time. So it was pretty dud of a night on his camera. So we're standing over there next to the bust, and he has a full figure standing right next to it, taller than the gate. So I was kind of like, all right. So I walked around, kind of making sure he has a point of reference, and we had an 8-minute interaction with this particular being there. So it was, Henry, is it okay if I read some of your poetry? Raise your right hand. We got the right hand up.
Wow.
And he dropped it again. He disappeared after that 8 minutes because the only female in the group goes over to the side of the gate and outstretches her hand and asks Henry to shake it. And he disappeared. You have to remember the time he came from.
Yeah.
Women outstretching their hand that way
Yeah.
would have been disrespectful. And we couldn't get him back. The problem with that whole scenario was the man didn't know how to record with his new camera. So we were using my infrared camera over his shoulder to get the footage.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it was craziness.
That's wild.
So 8 full minutes. So again, I've been trying out some crazy things in here. We are going to explore the space. This is another space where we get very high EMF. So it can happen. I'm not going to say it's going to. We've had it all the way up to 182 last week. Those are almost dangerous levels. And remember, I have epilepsy. That's too much electricity in the air for me.
Okay.
So again, it doesn't take long for, I would say, probably 4 or 5 minutes in that kind of high frequencies for me to start getting a little dizzy and my eyes start to move around. I will know what's going on if we get those kind of EMF readings going on.
Okay.
But up to 100, we're pretty safe.
Okay.
Again, your microwave will go up to 150 to 170.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in mind.
Okay.
I use those EMF detectors for safety. That's why we always have one out.
Okay.
So, all right. I say we walk around. Let's get you back on record.
Ready?
If the other tourists start to
I'm
cut
already
through
on
here.
record.
Oh, beautiful. Look at you, man. You're like a pro. I'm going to give you a job in a few years. You might.
Yeah. This could be your college job instead of working at McDonald's. That's what he wants to do while he's in college. You could do this instead.
I mean, it's a pretty good pay job.
What? This? Or McDonald's?
McDonald's. You would get about $5,000 per year.
Maybe.
Yeah.
For him,
Whoa.
that's $1 million, bro.
Yep.
We also want to keep in mind that those are neighbors back there.
Oh, okay.
The
Yep.
houses.
Okay.
We have the right filter up. What color is my stick figure?
Green.
No, we're in the wrong filter. It's easier to see. You need to stop it. And it should be purple now.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason I do it that way is because the infrared shows up purple. So that way when you guys
I
get
see
your...
something! A full one!
Whoa.
We got a lot of trees over there. But you did have a couple of figures in there.
Yeah.
There it is.
There's one.
It's right at the corner of the gate.
Keep it still.
Keep it still. Keep it still. Henry, if that's you, I can see you on the camera.
Henry, if that's you, raise your right hand.
That's going to be this side, just so you know. Henry, can you raise your hand for us? Wow.
Whoa. Whoa. Wow, Don.
Henry, tell us what you're hearing right now.
Do you hear anything?
always say we move a little bit closer just so we can kind of verify. Still there, still same shape. It's almost like we have two people in there. Because we got one keeps appearing right here.
Whoa.
We've also, with this camera, we've caught somebody on the side of that tree, like sitting next to it, back to it, knees up, arms up like they're reading a book. Like craziest thing.
Crazy. Wow, Dom, look.
I'm a little shaky.
Are you okay?
It's okay, you're doing a good job.
Henry, we need you to raise your right hand for us. We need to know that that's actually you standing there. Henry, raise your right hand, please.
Looks like it's moving a little.
It's almost like we have two figures.
Yeah.
Raise your right hand. I want to get in view so you kind of have a point of reference.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, you stay right there.
Stay right there,
I'm gonna
Dom.
go on this side because you have more space.
Okay, there's. I can see him. Yep. But I can't see. Can't see
I
both.
see him.
Now he.
I'm going to take your EMF detector.
got-
I'm going to walk up there and see if I can get a read. Am I near it?
Yeah.
Hold on.
I don't have any readings. It's all zeros.
No, it.
He's gone.
Yeah, it's just you now.
Yeah.
Looks like I got close and he went away.
I see something.
Oh, yeah. So we see you coming back.
Now he's back. Now he's back. I don't think he wants you getting too close, or else he gets scared.
So what I do is I take screenshots of that. And break it up
Shaking.
so I can see
Done.
if anything's going on.
Because you're nervous, or because it's heavy. You want to switch
He's
me?
been holding it all night.
You want to
Sure.
switch me?
Sure.
You hold that.
Yeah, one-handed. So take your left hand off. See how your fingers are in view? There you go. Have you heard anything at all?
Not really.
Henry, if you're there, move to the left side of the gate.
You gotta point your camera up a little bit this way. There you go. You would point it almost like directly at the ground.
Whoa.
I think a lot of that is going to be the trees,
Yeah.
but that one figure that just kept standing there,
That
was
was-
from the ground.
Yeah, that was definitely from the ground. Oh,
It's coming back.
maybe.
I think a lot of that stuff to the right of him is in the trees,
Yeah.
like all the tree branches and. I got the word butter. Henry's hungry.
Some biscuits.
Henry, if you're hungry, raise your right hand.
I'm not getting him anymore.
He doesn't have any cold anything either.
Okay, let's keep walking around. Do you want me to? Do you want to do this still, Don? This one?
Oh, thanks.
You want to do that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to go to like the common space where we've been getting some of the high readings. Again, it hasn't been every night, but now it has the word cholesterol.
Blender.
Butter and cholesterol.
And blender.
Interesting.
And blender.
Yeah. A little shaky.
Yeah. Exciting.
What I just experienced was probably one of the most exciting things in my life.
Wow,
I
honey.
have to tell Alex this.
I can't wait for you to tell Alex.
had like a little 4.4.
Okay.
This is the space where we've had it again. It'll go all the way up to 170, 180 up here on this little grassy area.
Okay.
Oh wait, I have an idea.
The other
Jacket.
Give this another minute. What else you got going on, Trey? Because I'm not getting those high ass readings like I was before. And the fact that we're not getting them just verifies what I got here the other night.
They shall not.
I shall not what?
Parents. So we had mother and then we had parents.
Wait, maybe the pirate is still here.
Oh, this guy's not a pirate. He's a...
I know, but like the one pirate girl has been following us around. Yeah.
Constellation.
Is there any constellations of pirates?
No, I don't think so. Maybe there's one of a ship though.
Yeah.
I keep hearing the word many.
Many? M-A-N-Y?
M-A-N-Y.
Yeah.
Many.
Yeah.
I've heard it like 3 or 4 times.
I had the word
It's
any before, and one of the Estes methods that we did, we asked how many ghosts were here because we were getting a bunch of clues about that memorial, which is Andrew Jackson's mother right there.
Okay.
That's what that memorial is to. That's why I said the mother makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But we kept getting the number 5. So,
Okay.
and it was the Estes method. So the guy had no
No idea. Yeah.
So he kept like 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Like he kept saying it.
Wow.
It was the craziest thing. So who else is here? We're going to give you another minute before we turn off our little machines here. Tell us who's here. You know how to use all these little boxes I bring. It's not like I'm not here every night. Thermal can be, it's cool to watch, but
The
it can-
one in the family.
Which one in the family?
The one in the family.
Which one? Tell us.
What?
Oh, it's that thing.
I wonder why the ground is cold, but this gravestone is so hot.
So that stone is going to hang on to the heat from the sun when it was out during the daytime, whereas brick gets really cool at night. We learn a lot about temperatures when working with that crazy camera.
How much sin committed?
Is that the benches?
Yeah, I don't see the form of anything, so it's got to be picking up the pole, still in the word Legion. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it. Because
Yeah,
these
I think
obviously
so,
still
too.
missing things, which is fine. I want them to miss things. So I can count
So, can I stop the recording?
Go ahead and stop your
Yeah, we can have this.